were some concerns, we had others, and we raised those at the time. I think that this AMA agreement right now takes some steps to address some of those concerns and push us further, take some positive steps toward addressing what we believe to be some of those initial shortcomings in the settlement agreement. Granted, they don't solve all of those problems, but they do take some important steps toward addressing them. The formalized collaboration, particularly mandated by the agreement, helps bring more transparency to the work of the Bureau and also involve Portland community members, again, particularly community of color, who we see are disparately impacted by a lot of the work of the Bureau. It's wonderful to see that this agreement does seem to acknowledge that any successful reform absolutely cannot happen with the transparency, without the transparency and the involvement that the collaborative agreement is prioritizing. And I just do want to note, we've really appreciated the collaboration with our coalition partners, and I agree with everything that's been said up until now. I think, with one exception, I think that as we move forward, we do have to strike a fine balance between waiting for the court to carry through its process of approving the settlement agreement, which we're now seeing is delayed even more, and moving forward already with some of the things that we can do without the formal approval from the court. And so we're seeing from the Police Bureau, I believe, reports that they are moving forward. They certainly moved forward with revising the use of force policies, and I believe that's part of new training. The chief can correct me if that's not correct. Saw that a new website, I think just posted since we've been here this morning at council as kind of a clearinghouse for a lot of the information that's happening with the settlement agreement. So those are things, and among many others, that we can do now without the formal approval of the settlement agreement from the court to really start moving this forward. I think possibly with the exception of the police union, everyone here in Portland is ready to see the show get on the road, and we're ready to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Council members.
Okay, I have a question because I want to reconcile something. The ACLU just testified that they would like us to move forward with terms of the settlement agreement, even though there's still an underlying controversy. Joanne Hardesty raised a caution flag about moving forward with certain things without adequate oversight. So, Joanne, could you give us an example of a couple things where the city's moving forward and you have a concern? Because I'm not clear whether your concern is that we're moving forward or that there's inadequate, in your view, inadequate oversight of whatever we're moving forward.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Fish, it's the latter. It's my concern is that if there's no community oversight, which is really one of the primary components of the Department of Justice settlement agreement, if the community oversight process is not in place, then we're just taking the chief's word that he's doing what he says he's doing. And I don't have confidence that that would be so.
So could I take the opportunity to ask all four of you, would you be comfortable with the enhanced community participation process that we're going to put in place, including the AMA? Is it your feeling that moving ahead with starting the process by hiring the community oversight officer is a good thing to do while we're waiting for the settlement agreement to be done?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Fritz, I think we have to have the community oversight piece in place. I was not recommending that we wait until the federal courts act.